Hey friends, Chef Wainaina. Welcome back guys. Always good to have you here. So today I'm sharing with you a very simple recipe of a pound cake. This is my variation, a cake that is very dear to me. I started making this cake way back when I lived in Voi and we had a small bakery. This is one of my popular items, and my kids, when they were growing up, they were young by then, they loved it, and no wonder up to today they have a love for baking. So before I share the recipe, if it's your first time here today, you're welcome. Karibu sana. Just please remember to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. Give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment in the comment section. So my recipe of a pound cake calls for 4 eggs. I have some 2 sticks of butter here. I have about a 1/3 cup milk here. I'm going to weigh 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. If you have cake flour, you can use it, and especially if you're a regular baker, otherwise this will work just as fine. I'm going to use 1 cup sugar. I'm going to add in just some salt. I have some vanilla here and some baking powder. So before I start, I'm going to prepare a loaf tin here. I'm going to brush it with some butter. You can use parchment paper, rub it with the butter on all sides here. This prevents the cake from drying up, especially on the sides. So just put a good amount of butter, and then I can come with my fingers here, go to the corners, and then just dust it with some flour. Then I'm going to set this aside. So into this bowl, I'm going to sift in 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour here. So always make sure that you level the flour, do not pack it. So that's 1.5. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Sift all this into the bowl. So this aerates and also removes any lumps. Into the same bowl, 1 cup sugar goes in. So I'm going to come here with a whisk and just mix this. Our dry ingredients all done, set them aside. So for our wet ingredients, I'm going to crack in 4 eggs. Add in our 1/3 cup of milk. So the eggs and the milk, they should be at room temperature. And then into this mix, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And then I'll take my whisk here, mix this all together. So that looks good to me. So I have my dry ingredients, my wet ingredients, and you'll notice that I still have my 2 sticks of butter. So before I proceed, I'm going to set my oven at 350 and put the rack in the middle section of the oven. Move this mess. So traditionally for cakes, you'll do what is called the creaming method, but you'll notice on my recipe here, I added the sugar into the dry ingredients. So what I'm going to do, I'm just trying to make this recipe as easy as I can. And especially if I'm making just one cake, this tends to be a little and straightforward way for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the butter here, my 2 sticks of butter, which is about 8 ounces. And then from here, I'm going to come with my hand mixer and just mix this together. If you don't have a hand mixer, you can definitely do this what is called the rubbing method. So you rub the butter and the flours between your fingers, or you can do this in a mixer. My mixer is way too big for just this one small cake. So what I want to do here is just bring everything together. I can increase the speed here. So you'll notice the sugar, the butter and the flour, they've combined nicely. So the next thing that I'm going to do now, I'm going to incorporate our wet ingredients here, and I'm going to do it into thirds. So the most important thing here you want to be careful with is just developing gluten, which makes the cake a little bit dense. So you want to add this, just bring it together. add the next third. And now I'm going to the last bit of this. And now increase the speed. And there you go. So just to bring it all together, I'll come with a spatula, come to the edges here, and gather everything in. Very nice and smooth. So I will bring my buttered cake pan here, and then empty this. Empty everything into the container. I'm going to use the spatula and spread it. So classic pound cakes call for a pound of butter, flour, eggs, and sugar, a pound of each. That is the classic recipe, but it's with a lot of the recipes. With times they've shifted, and a lot of people have adopted newer ways, make them lighter, and also incorporate baking powder, which is not a classic in the old recipes. So just all you do, just spread it, and then you'll notice with pound cakes, they usually have a crack in the middle. What you can do just to help it and make it look nice, we can just draw a line here. It's not necessary, but if you want it to have that classic pound cake look, you can do that. So I'm going to tap this slightly, remove any air bubbles. And then this goes into the oven, preheated for 350. We are going to bake this for between 35 and 45 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted in the middle of the cake comes out nice and clean. So after about 45 minutes of baking, our cakes comes out nice and beautiful golden brown here. Oh, this is awesome. So I'm going to insert a toothpick here right in the center if the toothpick comes out nice and clean. So our cake is nicely baked. So I'm going to leave this cake here for about 10 minutes to cool down, to redistribute the heat throughout the cake. And then we are going to put it on a wire rack to cool it further before we cut it and enjoy it. So about 10 minutes. Oh, look at that. Beautiful colors. Cool down completely before we cut it. Look at that characteristic pound cake crack at the top. When this happens to you, never worry about it. That's the signature pound cake. So you know what? I just can't wait longer. So this cake has been cooling here. It's still nice and warm. Time to slice into our cake here and see how we did. I will definitely go ahead and cut one more slice here. This is beautiful, very fluffy. Hey, after you do all the baking, at least you are allowed to taste the labor of your baking. Here we go. Take one slice here. Look at this. Nice, very spongy, very nice, very soft, and very fluffy. So that's what you get from this recipe. And without further ado, let me try my cake. The first bite was certainly not enough. So I'll go ahead, take one more bite here. So there you go, my friends. One more recipe that you can add to your recipes. This one is very easy. It's a cake you can make for dessert. You can make for snacking. This is a cake also you can double the recipe and then make 2 cakes. It's very easy to store. You can keep it in the fridge for about 2 weeks, or you can freeze it. Just put it in freezer bags and you have some cakes that you can grab from your freezer anytime that you want them, for your snacking or for your dessert. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Just remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next one.